Ha! Welcome to Wizardry 101. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to get all of your professors to give you straight A's. If you're landing on this video out of the blue, welcome. I recently had a very good friend of mine ask me how I organized myself and how I became so effective on certain things that I do in my life. So I asked him for a few days if that was right, and he said yes, because I wanted to create a course that I thought more people would get value from this. So I created a series called I Cloned My Brain that I've been releasing here on YouTube. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how I managed to graduate my master's program twice as fast as my peers while maintaining a high GPA and still working full-time. Now, truth be told, I'm going to give you the actual, day-to-day operational level of how I finished the master's, but I need you to understand that I had two basic skills that are not necessarily so basic that were massive building blocks on my success, my academic success. The first one was my extraordinary ability to fully focus and narrow in and using the time that I had wisely, right? If I had 20 minutes, I was zoomed in for those 20 minutes. And the second one is that I learned to learn. I spent years trying to figure out learning strategies that would work for me. I tested every single one of them, and by the time that I hit my master's, I knew what system would work for me. I knew what was the best, the most effective route for me to learn certain types of material. With all that said, there's two things I would like to say. The first one is that because I had to research all of this on my own and do by trial and error and see what would work and what wouldn't, what are the concepts and what are the ideas, I spent a lot of hours trying to sort out through this information. And again, shameless plug, I decided to create a course for it because it's something that I wish I had when I was going through this process. And I truly, seriously, wholeheartedly believe in the value that these courses bring. I put in a lot of hours in them to really make the content something that I can look back and be like, yes, I am proud of that and I stand by it. And every time I watch a video again, I'm like, yeah, that was it. I am proud of that project. I am proud of that information that's being shown to people, and I truly think it helps them. The second thing is that, sure, I was able to graduate twice as fast as everybody else and still maintain high grades. So it's possible, it's doable, but I don't recommend it. Let me be very clear with that. There is a clear trade-off by operating at 100% for, a whole year. The fact that it can be done doesn't mean it should. With that said, I'm gonna give you the tools and the skills and the strategies that you can use in case you want to use it, right? Doesn't mean I think you have to and I think you should, but in case you need to and in case you desire to do so, you have the tools. And I want you to think of it like someone who's very good at fighting and very capable and very skilled, but zen most of the time. That's kind of how I want you to, approach this. Since I graduated, AI has improved a lot. And there's a big chance that by the time you're watching this video, even if it's like 1-2 months after, there's a lot that has already changed. So I would rather you focus on the concepts, the ideas of how I'm using AI within education, rather than the specific tools and the specific methods over here. So I'm going to try to do a more general conceptual explanation. The first one is on ChatGPT, ChatPDF, and AI, or Notion AI in general. One of the things that I used to do for class was that every time I got a text, or be it a PDF or an article or any version of that, I would find a way to put that text over on ChatGPT and say something along the lines of, hey, give me a quick summary about this text along with the bullet points and let me know if there's any relevant information or unexpected information that I should be aware of. So in other words, here's what I would actually ask for them. Let me go to education over here and I'll explain everything there in a second. But I would ask them, like, hey, I would drop the file on the chat PDF and I would say, write me a list of bullet points with the highlights of what I need to know. Write me a 1-paragraph summary. Are there any particularly important or unexpected arguments in this text? So just kind of how I told you. So I would prompt that, and I would get a little summary. As a side note, in case they gave me an article that I didn't have in PDF or I didn't have the text and I wanted to later on drop in Goodnotes or some version of that, I would put the website here on this pdf5filters.org, and that would give me a PDF of that article. And that's what I did for a lot of my things, and that was very helpful. I will link that below as well. Now, here's where a lot of people get it wrong, because the job is not done yet. Although you're using this text because you have a class discussion or you just need to know that specific text for whatever reason, you have a quiz or it doesn't matter, it's not over, right? This is the beginning. This is where you get it going. All that they're doing is like, hey, here's a quick summary just so you understand what is happening. Now, your job with that summary is to go through the text and read titles, subtitles, and first and last sentence of each paragraph to see, you're skimming, to see if you get a better sense of what the text is and if it's worth spending the time, right? And at that point, it should have just taken you, I don't know, call it 15 minutes, because obviously the ChatGPT part is super quick, and then the reading should also be fast. You're just trying to get a general sense of, do I already know the material in this text, or do I need to go and seek out further information on it? Do I need to fully dive in? And I'm going to give you an example over here for a class, and I'm going to use that Command P feature here. There's a reading for Spotify that I had on one of my classes. This was the reading. This was me from the PDF thing that I just showed you, the 5 filters. Yeah, PDF 5 filters. And this was the reading. And then comments in class, stuff I was starting to write down, but here, ChatGPT summary. It gave me the summary. It was a very solid summary. And that was the beginning of this conversation, right? And then props to the author here. I will link that below in case you want to read this yourself. And that is the first portion. The second portion is that now that you put all of this into Notion, you need to properly organize this stuff. So I gave you one example already of how you can quickly retrieve. So if you had further notes, you know, you'd rather them over here and then you go from there. Now that you get that you should put this stuff on Notion, my recommendation is for every class that you have or every course you're taking, you would have a page for it that you can reference and you can keep. And I would also use the toggle list with a to-do. I will link this page and I would have the to-do with the actual dates over there. And depending on the class, you're going to navigate differently, right? Like some classes, it's going to be more Goodnotes based because you need handwritten. Some of them are going to be a lot more coding. Some of them are just going to be like note taking in general. So you need to get a sense of what feels best. One that worked well for me, it's going to be a good example, is this data mining class that I created a database of every single class that we had and every single project that we had. That way I could keep track of everything that was going on. So I'm going to go, see, data mining for business analytics, and I would go over here. The assignment, I will put it over here. The articles, I will put them over here. Same situation that you saw. The reading for Spotify is over here. And that also worked for, you know, coding, right? I would copy the Jupyter notebook over here to be able to reference it. And you're also going to notice that I do this on Goodnotes too. But, you know, there are endless possibilities on how you can organize your notes on Notion. And I think that this is the best one that I found. And this is the one that I used throughout the entirety of my college career. I think there's another one over here that might be worth showing you. Same situation, same database. This was an article-based class. There was a lot of discussion. So this strategy that I just told you came very handy for this one. And we go over there. And again, your best friend here, once you're creating these databases, your best friend is the Command P function, because you can search. Command P, you can search for anything. Reading for, it's right there, right? Like you can quickly retrieve information.
Hey there, if you're anything like me and you hate when YouTube put those like
30-second ads in your videos that get you totally distracted, much like this one, which is why I'm trying to make it at least entertaining to you. I created this course to be a pay whatever you want format in which you're not going to have any ads or any distractions, and I put that on the platform, and I did it like a pay whatever you want one to, allow you to just put a couple dollars or whatever you think it's fair if you want to, show that you care for this stuff and you want to keep the lights on here, but you also get a PDF with all the summaries and all the information that you're seeing over here, as well as access to the Unsunk community, which is a place that you get to see and meet other people that are like-minded in the sense that they want to be very careful with their time and they want to, live life intentionally. So if that's you and that sounds interesting, go over there. I will love you regardless. Take care. Back to the video. Now, so for Goodnotes, I want to show you, I kind of already gave a quick explanation throughout the first video, the intro, but I think we can dive in a little bit further with more, a little bit more calm this time and patience. So for this same class, the data visualization class, no, the data mining class, because it was so coding based, I didn't really bother putting most things here on Goodnotes just because it's more handwritten and PDFs that you can search, and I didn't necessarily need it to search for that specific class. However, later in that semester, when I had the issue that I needed summaries for the final, when I was creating my mind maps for the final, that is when I started using Goodnotes for that class. So an example here that I searched earlier that you saw was the data, it was the decision tree, right? Data mining final summaries. This specific, and I would go through the chapters and I would do my own summaries, which in this case is a mix of mind maps and just general written summaries with a couple of icons to remember. But that was one of the ways I studied. I don't think these are all the notes. But that was one of the ways I studied. And here's the same Spotify that you saw over there, right? And those were the 3 things that were important within that article. Funnily enough, I can quickly retrieve this information now, months after this class. So this is how Goodnotes can be very important and very useful as well. And don't forget that it has the PDF feature. Just you can search within PDFs as well. So right, like decision trees, blah, 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 blah. You see, you get more information here. Now, the last one that I think is very useful and very cool that I did not have throughout my master's program, but I have been using it a lot after. It has replaced how I use Google, or whether I use Google. Sometimes I use this way more often than I use Google now. It's called Perplexity.ai. I am sure there's going to be other options. There's probably already a lot more. There's this co-pilot feature that I think just enhances the entire thing. You can search as if you were just asking Google, and you can start giving context. So, let's do a couple of searches here, and I saved one. Is it better to multitask or monotask? Please provide a list of pros and cons and look at the possible research papers as well. Just search. So found these 4. It's going to give the pros and cons of each research findings. Research findings suggest that workers on platforms like Amazon tend to prefer multitasking. Additionally, another study multitasking. However, science has shown that multitasking can lead to increased distractions, reduced productivity, and lower test score. In conclusion, while multitasking may be preferred, science suggests monotasking is more effective. And it's linking the sources, which is very cool. This is very fast. This is very important. Like, saves a lot of hours. You can also give examples for a camera setup that I have, and I was like, hey, does this, I have this camera, this thing, and does it work if I buy this battery or whatever else, right? Do they talk to each other? And it does. It searches YouTube, it searches for everything. It basically goes through Google for you. And it has been very, very, very useful and saved me a lot of hours.
Okay, and here's a couple of bonus ideas. When I was in my master's program, those things either weren't available or they weren't free, And I'm sharing them because, those are concepts that maybe it's cool to get you thinking, and maybe you're going to be the person to build them. The first idea is that imagine a platform in which you quickly upload a text or a PDF, and that immediately turns into a quality audiobook, like not some like robot voice, but a quality audiobook that immediately goes to your phone and you can listen to in your commute as if you were a podcast. And the second idea is imagine the same concept of uploading a PDF or a text or some version of that, and immediately, based on previous mind maps and summaries that you created, it creates your personalized mind map. I think these two tools could be super useful when a student is trying to master a topic for the first time. They are good, they will provide you the tools to get it going a lot faster. And with everything you saw here, the dream would be to have a platform that kind of does everything, right? Like it combines the calendar with your notes and your class notes and Notions and Goodreads. So having that integration and making really a mastermind of notes and, this assistant, this student assistant, because you have teacher assistant, you could have a student assistant. It would be very freaking cool. So maybe you're the person to build it. Just, food for thought.
So just to recap, here's a list of the 5 things that we discussed. Thanks for getting to the end of this video. I hope that you got to make sense of all of this, but I also hope you understand and that you can see that I've been using technology and AI to speed me up, but never to replace me. I'm always trying to make my learning process faster and better, but it's still about my learning process. It's not just about getting AI to do things for me. And I think the people that learn how to leverage AI for their own growth rather than just replacing their necessity for thinking will get ahead. So I hope you can see the value of these tools, and I hope you get to use them wisely, properly, and if you have any new ideas, you can drop them. We're always looking for new concepts and new ideas. In case you're curious, in case you're interested, I created a course on meta learning, meaning learning to learn, time management, meaning how do I find time for the things that I love, and body language meets public speaking. In other words, how do I become the most interesting speaker that I can possibly be and deliver unique presentations? You can find those at unsunk.org, and if you have any comments, feedback, ideas, things you'd like to see, please send me an email at info@unsunk.org. I do read those. I am curious. I do want to know what brings you value, because this is what I'm doing. You are the reason I'm doing this. I want people to get value from this content. Thank you again, and I will see you on the next video.